Okay, I'm going to react to the Stefon Diggs article that was put out by Bleacher Report today. They're doing trade mock trades for if he gets traded this offseason, the Bills can also save 19 million in cap if they trade him after June 1st. And Stefon Diggs and the Bills have had weird issues for years. And I'm not going to say he gets traded this offseason. I'm not going to say he's done in Buffalo. But if they do trade him, I wouldn't be shocked. And if it's finally the year that he requests a trade, I wouldn't be shocked either. So let's talk about it. So the first trade that they mentioned was a Panthers trade. And it's Brian Burns and a fifth round pick for Diggs, a fifth and a sixth. Okay, I don't necessarily think the Bills would agree to this, but I understand where they're coming from. Von Miller was awful when he played this year, and he's coming off a torn ACL. He's around like 33, 34 years old. He has one more year of guaranteed money left. They're going to need an edge rusher. They just do. And I don't think, I just don't think they agree to this trade. Giving up Diggs, their best piece on offense, outside of Josh, of course, for Brian Burns, just I don't see it. They're going to have to get a receiver somehow, and they could get it in the first round, but at the same time, I just don't know if this is the move they make. I would get it from the Panthers' perspective, of course. They're refusing to pay Brian Burns, and obviously, if you go and get Stephon Diggs, it helps Bryce Young so much. He also needs a receiver. His best receiver last year was a 33-year-old Adam Thielen. So, okay, next up we have the Bears, and they would be trading the ninth overall pick. Or Bleacher Report says they should look to trade down in the first round, like to 15 to 20. So they're not giving up the ninth overall pick for Stephon Diggs because it's just Stephon Diggs straight up. And I sort of get Bleacher Report's perspective here. Look, Stephon is 30. He has struggled a lot in the playoffs. He struggled towards the end of last year, and I know it was a big scheme issue more than just Stephon being bad, but he has shown a tendency to struggle in the playoffs. Simple as that. And him and DJ Moore together would be so much fun, especially if they draft Caleb Williams. But at the same time, you're giving up a ninth overall pick that you can get with like Roma Dunze if he's there for Stephon Diggs, who is near the end of his prime. I would love this trade just because it's fun, and seeing Caleb Williams with those two would be really exciting. But I don't necessarily think the Bears make this move. Okay, the Texans trade. They'd be giving up their Cardinals pick, the 23rd overall pick, and like a fourth rounder for Stephon Diggs. So from the Texans' perspective, this would be freaking awesome. I mean, Tank Dell, I know he's coming off a serious injury, but he looked great when he played this year. And Nico Collins looked great too. Adding Stephon Diggs to that receiving core with CJ Stroud, who probably had the best rookie season of all time, that would be insane. That would light up opposing defenses. But from the Bills' perspective, again, I just don't see this happening. Like the 23rd pick, you're out of range of most top receivers or the top three guys. And then that's where the other guys are going to start going in. Xavier Legette, Troy Franklin. Those guys could start going in at that pick. But to say you could make the argument that the Bills take this trade with the intention of taking both their 20 to 30 picks, the two picks they have there, and going to get a top 10 to 15 pick. That could be the argument made. Or they could just say they like both of those because that is similar to what Kansas City did with Tyreek in a way. Okay, the Colts trade. I definitely see this one happening. If in a world where Stephon Diggs gets traded, the 15th overall pick and a fifth rounder for Stephon Diggs, that is pretty good for the Bills, who could take the 15th overall pick, and obviously Roma Dunze or Malik Neighbors or MHJ, of course, are going to probably all three be taken unless Dunze or Neighbors like historically falls, which I don't think will happen. This spot you could start getting guys, those other guys I mentioned before. And if Keon Coleman rises up in the combine process, that guy's been connected to the Bills ever since they were around this spot midway through the year. So if the Bills made a trade for Stephon Diggs, I could definitely see this happen. The Colts, of course, would be adding a receiver to an offense that might lose Michael Pittman Jr. this offseason, and that also is bringing back Anthony Richardson next year, and you need as much receiver talent around him as you can get. Okay, this is the worst trade by far. Like, the Giants would never do this trade. The Bills would take it in a heartbeat, but the Giants would never do this trade. It is giving up Dexter Lawrence, a second round pick, like a fifth rounder for Diggs and like a fifth rounder. It is not good. This is not a good trade. It would be horrible. The Giants would immediately regret it, and I don't think the Giants front office is willing to make a trade like that. That would be like the Odell trade. That is such. Oh wait, actually, the Odell trade led to Dexter Lawrence. See the irony there? It just would not work out. That would be horrible. Okay, and then Cardinals pick. I think the Cardinals could make a move if MHJ is taken by the Patriots. It all depends there. Like Big Game Bengal has said, basically the draft starts at the Patriots pick. It's either Jaden Daniels or MHJ. It feels like, and I could see the Cardinals scrambling to go get a receiver. It could possibly happen, and this could be a good enough trade to make it work. The Texans pick is like around 27, and that could be enough with a third round pick to get Stefon because they're going to get a receiver this offseason. That is one of the worst receiving cores in the league. No doubt about it. The Cardinals go get someone. It just depends if the Bills accept this trade and if the Cardinals don't get MHJ. And then the elephant in the room. Obviously, Cowboys talks have been there from Cowboys fans and random media members for years just because of the brother connection. But I wanted to throw this in here because the Cowboys have publicly said they're going all in this offseason. I don't believe it as someone that knows how the Cowboys operate and work, but let's just go with the assumption they are. And they go all in on this last year with Mike McCarthy, and I think this would have to be the trade they make. Brandon Cooks is probably getting moved this offseason. His production just doesn't match the value that they need from him, and they need another receiver in that room. It makes sense from the Cowboys' perspective. If the Cowboys had a competent front office that would make moves, this would be the one. They're in a later part of. I know their roster's young. They have one of the youngest rosters in the playoff scheme this year, but still, going all in and adding a veteran receiver that has been very good for around 6 years now, next to CeeDee Lamb, just changes the offense even more. And a first round pick, a third round pick, and Brandon Cooks could work if the Bills are willing to trade him. Although all of this is speculation, we talk about this every offseason with Stefon. I still wanted to do it. It's fun. And have a great day. This is Son of a Sports.